I didn't answer immediately. Ryan's question lingered between us, carried away by the gentle breeze that skimmed across the surface of the lake. Have you ever believed someone would always stay and then suddenly they didn't? I lowered my gaze to the water, watching the tiny ripples spread across its surface. I have, I admitted quietly, not because I'd experienced heartbreak the way he had, but because I knew what it felt like to lose people you thought would always be a part of your life. Friends who drifted away, promises that faded with time. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. Ryan let out a quiet laugh, though there wasn't any happiness behind it. Silence settled over us again. This time, it didn't feel awkward. It felt heavy. I turned towards him, studying the side of his face. His eyes were fixed on the lake, but I had a feeling he wasn't seeing the water anymore. He was somewhere else, lost in memories he wished he could forget. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, I said gently. I know we haven't seen each other in years. He smiled faintly. That's the funny part. I tilted my head. I haven't been able to tell anyone. His words caught me off guard. No one? He shook his head. My parents know we broke up. My friends know too. He sighed. But every time someone asks if I'm okay, I give them the same answer. I'm fine. He looked at me, surprised. Exactly. A small smile escaped both of us before it disappeared just as quickly. The truth is, he paused, searching for the right words. I'm not fine. I didn't interrupt. I was with Maya for almost 2 years. The name sounded unfamiliar, but the emotion behind it wasn't. I thought we had everything figured out. We'd talk for hours every day. We'd make plans for our future. He smiled bitterly. I actually believed she'd always be there. His fingers tightened around the edge of the bench. But then Kevin came along. He took a slow breath. At first, she told me they were just friends. I believed her because why wouldn't I? His voice grew quieter. Then she started replying later, canceling plans, smiling at her phone when we were together. He let out a humorless chuckle. I noticed every little change, but I kept convincing myself I was overthinking. I felt my chest tighten. One day, I finally asked her if something was wrong. He swallowed. She cried. He stared ahead, blinking away memories that clearly still hurt. She told me she'd fallen in love with someone else. The words hung in the air. I just remember sitting there, staring at her, waiting for her to tell me it was a joke. He laughed softly. It wasn't. I didn't know what to say. There are moments when words feel too small. I kept asking her why. His voice cracked. She said I hadn't done anything wrong. He looked down at his hands. Do you know how confusing that is? I frowned slightly. If I hadn't done anything wrong, then why wasn't I enough? The question broke something inside me. Without thinking, I reached over and gently rested my hand on his. He looked at me, startled, but he didn't pull away. Ryan, I said softly, someone choosing a different path doesn't erase the person you are. He stayed silent. You loved her, he nodded. You trusted her, another nod. And losing that kind of love hurts. His eyes began to glisten again. But heartbreak doesn't mean you were enough. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then, almost in a whisper, he said, no one's ever said that to me before. He looked at me for a long moment before letting out a shaky breath. I smiled gently. Maybe that's because everyone thinks they have to fix heartbreak. He frowned slightly. But sometimes, I continued, people don't need solutions. They just need someone who's willing to listen. Ryan looked down at our hands. Only then did I realize mine was still resting on his. Heat rushed to my cheeks and I quickly pulled it back. I'm sorry. He laughed softly. For what? I didn't even realize I was doing that. I'm glad you did. The corners of his lips lifted into the first genuine smile I'd seen from him all afternoon. I think I needed it. A smile found its way onto my face too. Good. For the first time since we'd started talking, the atmosphere around us felt lighter. Ryan leaned back against the bench and stretched his arms above his head. You know, he said, this conversation turned out very differently from what I expected. Oh, I thought I'd come here to be alone. And instead, you got stuck with me. He laughed. I was gonna say I made a new friend. I tried to hide my smile spreading across my face. I suppose that's better. It definitely is. The sun had started to dip lower in the sky, painting the lake with shades of gold and orange. Neither of us seemed to be in a hurry to leave. So, Ryan said after a moment, tell me something about you. I raised an eyebrow. That's a very broad question. Fine, he pretended to think. What's one thing nobody knows about Liana? I laughed. You're assuming I'm mysterious, aren't you? Not at all. He folded his arms dramatically. I don't believe that. Oh, really? You walked over to a random guy sitting alone by a lake. I wouldn't call you random. You hadn't spoken to me before. Fair point. We both laughed. I love reading, I admitted after a moment. Whenever life gets stressful, I disappear into a novel. Ryan smiled. That explains why you always seem like you're thinking about something. What about you? I play the guitar. I blinked. You do? A little. You've been holding out on me. It's not that impressive. I'll be the judge of that. He chuckled. I'll play for you someday. I'll remember you said that. Please don't. Oh, I definitely will. We spent another hour talking about school memories, about our families, about the lecturers we'd already decided were terrifying, about our favorite movies, music, and the tiny coffee shop just outside campus that apparently made the best iced coffee, according to Ryan. By the time we finally stood up to leave, it felt strange that we'd only started talking properly today. As we walked towards the university gate, Ryan suddenly stopped. Wait! I turned around. We've been talking for hours. Have we? You seriously didn't notice? I looked at the darkening sky and laughed. I guess not. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. I don't really want today to be the last time we talk. I felt my heart skip. So, he scratched the back of his neck. Can I have your number? I couldn't help smiling. I was wondering how long it would take you to ask. His eyes widened. So, that's a yes? I nodded. We exchanged our phones, typing in our numbers before handing them back. A second later, my phone buzzed. It was Ryan. The message said, just making sure you didn't give me a fake number. I burst into laughter. You texted me while I'm standing right next to you? I had to verify. I shook my head. You're unbelievable. And yet, he grinned, slipping his phone into his pocket. You still gave me your number. I rolled my eyes playfully. I might regret it. You won't. For some reason, I believed him. As we reached the campus entrance, we stopped once more. I'll see you tomorrow? Ryan asked. I'll see you tomorrow. He smiled. Good. I watched him walk away until he disappeared among the crowd of students. Only then did I realize something. When I'd first seen him by the lake, he looked like someone carrying the weight of the world alone. Now, his shoulders seemed just a little lighter, and somehow so did my heart.